What's up, everyone? This is Sporty 17 here, bringing you kind of unique video. I'm here with my buddy
Cole Wilkes.
He's a Jazz fan too. We decided to make a video, something along the lines of this, more podcast form-esque thing, talking about the 2024 NBA draft. We both sat down, we both watched it together, and almost fell asleep a few times, but we got piled nachos. We just wanted to kind of discuss a little bit about what the Jazz did. They had 3 picks. They had the 10th, the 29th, and the 32nd pick. And to start, what do you think about the overall draft night?
I think a lot of teams and a lot of even professional players look at what the Utah Jazz did this past draft, this most recent draft, and are probably a little bit jealous and impressed by it, because a lot of the people we've drafted were people that were at first, like, a lot of people thinking lottery picks. Isaiah Cooler was even at the beginning of the season, people were saying he might be number 1 on the draft night. And Cody Williams, all these guys at one point were thought to be like early lottery, top 3, and every time we just snagged them, stole them, and I'm very confident on all of our picks, really.
Yeah, Cody Williams was kind of an afterthought for me. So I got to be honest, I didn't really do much pre-draft workout with looking at who was available, because I didn't know any of these players. I've heard a lot of people saying that this draft is one of the weakest drafts that we've had in years, probably since that Anthony Bennett draft where he went number 1. I think that's who it was. But actually, I think overall the Jazz picked great with the talent that was there. I mean, at the beginning of the NCAA season, I think Isaiah Cooler and Cody Williams were both top 5 picks, is what they thought. And we snagged them both. I know Cody Williams struggled with injuries in his first year with Colorado, but that beginning of the Colorado season, he really just took off.
Yeah. And another thing to think of is, I think why people say this is a weaker draft is mainly because these are role players. We aren't getting major stars or like offensive, like, I don't know, offensive all-stars. You know, we're getting role players, someone that could come into a system, which is what you really want in a first year, someone who could come into the system and learn it. And they're more focused on defense. Mm-hmm. And we don't really get that many defensive players in the draft, and every single one of the picks we drafted, one of the things they've talked about is transition defense, passing, and just overall movement off ball. And that's not something you really focus on in a draft usually. Someone's talking about their field goal percentage or the way they drive to the hoop, but almost all the players we drafted had those things, and I think that's how the whole draft was. There was a lot of defenders rather than offensive powerhouses.
I know. The guy who went number 1, I don't think I even heard his name until
they said
he was drafted. We'll see how the Atlanta Hawks, I know Quinn Snyder was an ex-Utah Jazz head coach. We'll see if he's able to do anything down at Atlanta. But yeah, I'm excited about the defenders, and I'm also excited about the ball handling and passing skills of Isaiah.
Yeah.
We don't have any passing on our team. All we have is Keontae George, who is supposed to be a shooting guard, and they made him work as a point guard because we didn't have any passing. And I think that is great to hear, especially when it comes to passing to Lauri Markkanen and ball movement, because last season was pretty dang bad with the way ball movement happened.
And that's the thing with Isaiah and Cody. Both of them were told that they're really good at passing the bigs and wraparounds and just what's the other, not wraparounds, but like kickouts. They're both really good at that with alley-oops, and just both of them are good at working with bigs and creating shots for bigs, and that will really help with marketing and really just having someone who's deliberately good passer in transition and during just screen passes, which we struggle with.
To have someone who is not a ball hog, I guess, is good to have too. I mean, I know we have our fair share of Jordan Clarkson, even though I know his total assist numbers were up, but sometimes I felt like his hero ball got in the way of the Jazz winning the past 4 years that we've had him. But I really like him. Cody Williams, he shot about 1 3-point per game, so I know his 3-point percentage is he'll have to work on his 3-point shooting for sure. I'm not too sure about Isaiah's. I don't know if he did much.
He is about 33% in the last 27 games. Mm-hmm. That's something they do want to work with him, because 33% years ago would have been a great 3-point percentage. But now in this NBA, you want that number to be a lot higher. And also, his field goal percentage looks really high. He is 70% when driving to the field, into the basket. But his just outside of driving, that's when his field goal percentage takes a plummet down. Mm-hmm. And so he needs to work on his shot too. And so these guys Cody Williams kind of has more of a drive like Mike Conley. And I'd say Isaiah is a little bit more like Darren Williams-ish. But yeah.
One thing too about Isaiah is his body.
Yeah.
Is like NBA ready already. So, and I know he played on that terrible USC team, which Bronny James was on. He got the most highly anticipated 55th pick in all-time NBA. He's playing with his dad. But I know he didn't have the best season with USC, but his high school career, he was like #1 guy in everything. Both Cody Williams and Isaiah were in the top 4 recruits of last year to go into college. Yeah. Now, I know that's kind of a hard thing to judge by, because a lot of these recruits kind of don't end up being NBA caliber players, but I think that we're seeing some awesome moves by Danny Ainge, especially the past 2 years. You know, we got Taylor Hendricks, Keontae George, Bryce Sensabaugh. And then we also had that 32nd pick. I don't think we really did much research on Mike something, but I do know
Kyle
Fuminowski. Yes, I didn't even know how to pronounce his name.
He's also known for good transition offense and a good passer for a big.
That's good.
So we do have that.
Because Walker Kessler does kind of struggle with a lot of things. But it is kind of cool seeing bigs passing. That is something I want Lauri Markkanen to work on. But that's a whole other topic for another day. But so overall, I think the Jazz got a B+ or even an A.
I'll give it an A. The only thing we want to worry about with all of these guys, besides Kyle, they're known to turn the ball over a little bit, and because we
were the worst turnover team last year.
Yeah. Too, so I guess maybe not much Cody, but definitely Isaiah is known to get a little too crazy, is what they would say, and just like kind of in a hero ball in a different sense of he's going to drive in just about who's in his way, and then he gets crowded, and then he can't kick the ball out as much as he wants to.
I do know that I heard an interview with him talking about that he has realized that is a problem and he wants to work on it. So Coach Hardy has a very interesting roster to work with this upcoming season. But the season hasn't started yet. The offseason's only begun. Trades have been falling around. You know, we saw the Mikal Bridges trade for 5 first-round picks.
Crazy.
And he averages under 20 points per game. I think there's a little bit of first-round pick inflation going on in the NBA. But with free agency and trades and stuff, what do you expect the Jazz to do?
I don't know. I'm kind of confused. We wanted someone in the wheelhouse of there. People actually say because of the trades and how the trades are doing, Markkanen has a way higher trade value now, because all those teams that missed out on the most recent trade are now looking to Markkanen, and so if his value is going up, I don't know. Danny Ainge wants a lot for him. Mm-hmm. So, but with that said, I know we have pieces like Clarkson and Sexton that I think could be moved out, but I don't know who or what for. If we're going to go draft picks and go for the future for that 2025 draft class, which is going to probably be one of the best draft classes in a long time, or if we're going to be win now kind of thinking and trade some of our draft picks with that player to get someone to win now.
I do know that I don't think they're going to have a goal to make the playoffs this upcoming season, but I do think they're going to have a goal of making this roster better than it was. And our roster is, I think, already better with the rookies that we brought in. I do see a Jordan Clarkson trade coming upon us because we are stacked with guards.
We are.
And he has some value. Some contending team might want to come in, get him, trade him, and get him. And we could probably get, with the way that they're throwing out first-round picks, probably a first-round pick for Clarkson. Danny Ainge loves that. But I think the Jazz are going to extend Lauri Markkanen. There are two paths with Lauri Markkanen. There's the Mikal Bridges path where the Brooklyn Nets had him, and they were like, we're going to build around him, and then they saw an opportunity to trade him for 5 first-round picks, and they took that. And I think that's a price that Danny Ainge would pay for Markkanen. Now we'll see if any teams really want to do that, or if Danny Ainge even really wants to trade him. I know there's a lot of saying going around that he's listening, but I've also heard stuff of GMs calling Danny Ainge and him listening, and the GM who called him saying that price is a lot more than probably someone would think. And so I don't think they intend to trade him.
Yeah.
It happens. But if we do trade him, it will be for a good price.
It will be for a real high price.
So yeah, I think Jordan Clarkson is the most realistic person to be traded, and John Collins, I think, is here to stay. There are rumors around there about Walker Kessler on the trade market. What do you think of that?
I think they're actually, from what I've heard, there might be a good chance. And I think drafting a center too with Kyle might have put that up, even though Kyle's probably more of a G League player, but at least that's another center we could develop just in case, emergency break glass.
I mean, we're paying John Collins $25 million a year, so he pretty much has to be the starting center.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors out there, and I don't want to put too much to it, but I hear him having problems with just the way Will Hardy plays and substitutes, and I don't know if those are any true. The only reason why I bring it up is because it's been brought up a lot, but at the same time, I've told this to you, if he gets traded, that's going to be I think Jazz is the best fit for him. If he gets traded, I feel like he's just going to be a piece traded through a lot of teams for the rest of his career. Because he even started his career that way. Before he even played one game, he was traded to 3 different teams.
That's true. Yeah, I could see. I'll be fine if he gets traded.
Yeah.
If he plays like he did last season, this upcoming season, I think that there would be a trade in place for him for sure. But I'm fine with giving him another chance this season, kind of redeem himself from the lack of, I would almost even say maybe lack of effort, and his mentality wasn't there, which is sad because he had a great rookie season, exciting. Yeah. But I'm excited to see if Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George improve next season too, and Bryce Sensabaugh. I guess he did get some playing time, but we have Cody Williams and Isaiah now, who there's going to be a lot of fight for who gets those minutes as the guards.
And I will say this, since you brought up the mentality of Kessler, one of the things about Isaiah is even though when he kind of does drive in and he starts turning over the ball a lot, one thing he does is he keeps his mind straight. He might get a little angry, but he's not gonna lose himself. He's really good at keeping a good mentality throughout the whole game. When they were down a lot earlier in the season or even later in the season, he was good at keeping his head straight and not pretty much turning over like everyone else did on his team. He would rally them back a couple of times from big deficits.
That's good. No, the future I think is bright with the Jazz. I am a huge Lauri Markkanen fan. I know some people out there are okay with him getting traded. I'm fine with him. I'll cheer him whichever team he goes on. I want him to stick with the Jazz. Yeah. I want him to succeed with the Jazz. He loves Utah. His family loves Utah, which is super unheard of to have an NBA All-Star who says, I love Utah and I want to be here.
Any team really, and let alone Utah being that team. He's like, I love. They even talked about it in Draft Night on ESPN on how it's so rare to get a player that caliber that everyone wants, that other players respect. LeBron respects him. All these players didn't know who he was, and now he has a lot of respect all over the league. Mm-hmm. And I think he knows that's because of Utah. That's because of the way they played him and really used him as a star, gave him that opportunity.
I mean, Will Hardy probably saw what he did in the what was the Eurobasket
Yeah.
a few years ago, where he helped Finland just kind of dominate a lot of the games that he played. Now, they didn't go on to win the Eurobasket, but he had some 40-point games, 30-point games. I think Will Hardy watched that and was like, oh, shoot. I don't think that Chicago and Cleveland saw what damage Lauri Markkanen can do. And even last season, where we didn't have Mike Conley to help him pass, he still averaged 23 points a game without like an actual point guard passing him the ball. Like, he found new ways to come up with shots. I noticed him going down to the basket, doing some Dirk Nowitzki moves, and like all this.
Some Klay Thompson moves.
Yeah,
too.
Klay Thompson. It's just Lauri Markkanen. I love him in Utah. I know a lot of people love him in Utah, and I hope that he sticks around in Utah for a long time. Now, you just never know with Danny Ainge what's going to happen, and so only time will tell. If he goes to a different team, I'll support him there. I'll probably even buy his jersey on a different team. I already have a Chicago Bulls Lauri Markkanen jersey, but yeah, I think the future is bright. I do think that we could gun it for a play-in tournament. Possibly.
I think so too. If Lakers were able to win a play-in tournament last year, we could get in and do some damage.
A lot of people expect the Jazz to be the second worst team in the NBA, though.
I don't know about that. Maybe if we tried.
I've heard that
to tank.
We just haven't fully tanked yet. Like, are the Jazz going to fully tank this
It takes them a while to commit to tanking. Halfway through the season, that's when they did it.
But like we haven't actually tanked. Yet the past 2 seasons, people have said that we've drafted like the best out of any team.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the Spurs, of course, because they got Wemby. But
Spurs did pretty good this year too.
Stephen Castle.
But from what I've heard from the Spurs are going to tank again.
Yeah. Well, they're going to tank until they get all the pieces they need, and then that's when they strike. That's just how Greg Popovich works. But us Jazz fans probably are in the dark. The Jazz are just so secretive about the way that they work. Like, so there's all these different rumors going around. Like, who even knows if Danny Ainge has had a phone call about Lauri Markkanen? But anyway, there probably will be trades going on, crazy stuff going on. So, but to end off this little segment, I wanted to get to know your Jazz fandom a little bit better, Cole. Okay. What's your favorite Utah Jazz memory?
So it's kind of an interesting one. We were in a pizza factory watching a playoff game against the Houston Rockets when they had Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady. And the whole pizza factory was really into this game on this tiny TV. And the pizza factory closed, but they allowed us to stay because it was going overtime. It was a really intense game. And we ended up winning that game. And I think it was like a game 4, game 5. And it was just a really awesome, it was like the first time I was ever with other Jazz fans rooting for the Jazz, besides like my dad and stuff. Yeah, and so it was just a really awesome experience.
He hasn't been to an actual Jazz game yet, so expect a Sporty Spence vlog this upcoming season of me treating him. Well, he'll probably have to pay for his own ticket. But me showing him the ropes around Delta Center. A lot of people probably know. I mean, I've mentioned my favorite Jazz memory a lot. The first time the Jazz made the playoffs, it was 2017. I guess the first time in 5 years the Jazz didn't made the playoffs. They played the Clippers, and just that whole atmosphere of the 18,000 Delta Center fans around there during the playoffs it was insane. They even lost the game. It was against the Clippers. And I still think that was the best Jazz moment I ever had. I also have a really close one where they're playing the Clippers again, actually, and Rudy Gobert blocked Marcus Morris. I was at the very top of Delta Center with my dad, and it was, oh man, just when you get the 18,000 fans all in the same shirt and just cheering on the Jazz, just there is nothing better than that. So I hope the Jazz do make the playoffs, just so people like this guy right here can experience the playoffs. But also, I want the Jazz to make the finals, so I'm okay with them losing a little bit to get us to the finals later on. But anyway, this has been great. What do you think Utah Jazz record will be next season? Off the top of your head.
They were 25 this season, right? They won 25?
31.
31.
They won 31 games, and they won 37 in the last. I'm gonna say 41 and 41. They're just gonna break even.
I'll go 40.
40,
Go
40,
right below
42.
40. Yeah,
Okay.
40, 42.
All right. Whoever wins has to buy the NBA Finals ticket.
Where they go to the like this NBA Finals?
No,
or
no.
the Jazz?
Whenever they do, we'll
Okay.
live up with this deal. So, all right. Well, this has been Sporty Spence 17 here with Mr. Wilkes. He doesn't have a YouTube channel.
I don't have a YouTube channel yet,
But don't forget to like and subscribe if you like all things Utah Jazz. If you like this video, let me know. We can make more of it. But all right, everyone, take care.